person all of the fire protection districts up here we're working with today. We also work with the city of Bowling Acres. My background, I started at Arthur Anderson. I worked at KPMG. I was a senior manager there and then left and went in business. So we've been in business for over 25 years as a CPA firm. So working with political subdivisions, GASB, governmental accounting, that's what we specialize. It's unique. Most CPA firms only work with corporate accounting. We do a lot of corporate accounts also. So we work with political subdivisions and you work with GASB. It's very, very different. And even finding audit firms that work with GASB is hard. Most of the audit firms don't even work with political subdivisions anymore because of the requirements and the difficulty with GASB. So what we did is today we met with the mayor and some of the leaders here and the department heads to talk about what needs to be done, work out some of the financial dilemmas that we have here at the city and move forward. So let me give you a little background about the city. We work next door with the city of Bowling Acres. Started there about 15 years. So I've been working with them continuously for 15 years. When we first started, a week into the engagement, I got a call from the city clerk, Ian Walker, and said, we're not going to be able to make payroll. And I said, we haven't even started reporting yet. So I got in my car, drove up, found out what we needed to do. We called a special meeting, got everyone together, and since then, we've had no issues whatsoever. Now, why is that? Well, it's really everyone pulled together. Leaders, which of course, city, aldermen, the mayor, everyone working together, that's primary. Second item was the department heads had to buy in, and all the city employees had to come with the premise that what? The city first. The city always has to come first. And then the most important part is you've got to have good financial reporting. Not only financial reporting, but meaningful to not only the board, the mayor, and all your department heads. They have to understand what they're operating with, what they have to spend, and what's taking place. So meaningful reporting is important. You can have financial statements, but if no one understands them, and no one knows what to do, they're not working with them, they're not reading them, it's not going to help the city move forward. And I think that's the key. Since then, everyone buying in with all the reporting that's over at the city, we've had no issues whatsoever. So one of the items we've done recently that probably we need to do here also is separate all of our grants from our operating funds. Why? Because we're going to have to report on those financials with all the stimulus money that's coming in. So some of the things to consider as we move forward. So we're here to help if the city needs us to help on an ongoing basis. So we're committed to do that. So what I've done for the board tonight, I've got a sample report just to get an idea. So reporting. Now keep in mind, these reports can be revised at any point in time. It's what's meaningful for you as you review it. That's really the goal. So what I just want to do is give everybody a sample so they know what to expect and what we're talking about. We try to take everything and put it in layperson's terms. That's the goal. If we talk over everyone, it's not going to be meaningful for the city. You have to understand. And these reports we do on a monthly basis. We come to the board meeting, walk through the report, and then see what questions come about. The city leaders, the department heads get a copy, everybody operates within the budget and looks at the statements. So the most important thing, and the page numbers at the bottom, I'm going to walk through quickly just so everybody can understand. The key starts with page 2. And page 2, what we did on page 2 and what we do with each city, we look at each of the funds. Your general fund, capital improvements, lateral sewer, TIP, debt service, capital projects, look at all your funds. And now we've added a grant one for the city next door just because of the money that came in from St. Louis County last fall. So we can start accounting for that for stimulus. And then you've got your bank accounts right below. That's the most important thing. We've got to keep track on a monthly basis. And that was one of the things a lot of cities don't have in front of them. What are those account balances every single month? That way we're not distracted. We know what the purpose is, and we can make sure the monies are available. To the right, court revenue is important. We know why, the trials that went on, and the state legislator, when they made all the changes. So we keep an eye on court revenue as a percent. Does it meet state requirements? Statutes only allow us to do so much, so we keep an eye on that. We follow that on page 3, giving you an idea of what everything looks like to the budget. And again, that's all the departments. So you can see what the expenses are, actual through that period of time, what the budget was, where the variances are, and then we compare to last year, same time. How close are we? How far off are we? What's transpiring as we move forward? Then we get into the detail, and that's the revenues that start on page 4. So you can see all the revenues, the roads, the sales tax fee, all the various types of revenues for the city. We monitor each one by budget, and then we compare to the year before so everybody gets an understanding on what's transpiring. So revenues just continue. You can see, and we know there's a lot of revenue, and then we go into the expenses. And the first category we start on is always administration. So we start with the administration, which will be on page 7 of this example. So you can see that. So again, same concept. What are the actual expenses, budget? What's the difference? How much of the budget have we used? And then you walk your way through comparing to the year before. Administration goes to 8, then on page number 10, you can see we start working with the courts. So we do the same concept there. Page 11, we work with public works, streets, so that we have the information there. And again, these get drilled down to the department heads so they can keep an eye on it. And we always ask them to challenge these. If there's something out of line, we make coding mistakes like anybody else. We want to make sure we get it properly applied so everything looks good for the benefit of the city. And then police, we have on page 12. Now, what follows that are the other funds and the financial statements. And that's on a monthly basis. So that way, you have a complete packet of what's transpiring here in the city. All we do is try to put this in a format that's more understandable versus getting financial statements that everyone looks at and tries to figure out what's going on. So we try to zero in on the important things that are priority here at the city. So, and that's really our goal, is to do whatever needs to be done to help here within the constraints of your rules, your ordinances, and work from there. So with that, I'll be happy to address any questions anyone else may have. Mayor, I didn't know if you wanted me to elaborate on anything else.
No, just an introductory tonight, and
okay.
we will meet again.
Okay. Perfect. Right. Did anyone have any questions?
No. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you all very much. Appreciate everything. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. The presentation on approved minutes.
And I make a motion to accept the unapproved presentation of the unapproved minutes for when we read all these dates.
We have them.
Okay. With one correction to April 21st, 22, the president was listed Alderperson Miranda Elliott, which at that time, and if I'm wrong, I stand corrected, but she wasn't an alderperson at that time. If you read the minutes, I got the copy.
I'll second.
So moved and proper second. I'm sorry, did you have you second? All right. Any questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Ayes have it.
Gotcha.
All right. We'll move down to the point where all of you are just anxious to get up and say something, and I'm anxious to hear you. First of all, I'm just glad to see so many people in the building at one time. And to share with you that there's no problem too big that we can't solve together. So I will turn the meeting over to the public, 3 minutes each, and you may come now. Just state your name and address.
So my name is Rich Jottis. 10636 Belcompton Road is who I'm representing. So first off, I just want to say thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. comments as well, because we are here because we want to work together, and we want to continue to do what we've been doing in the community, and that's to at the end of the day to be able to help children. So as you know, we've received some complaints and news coverage related to the noise created by the trucks of our food ministry on the North County property. But I want you to rest assured that we've been working amicably to resolve those issues. We don't want to fight with our neighbors. In fact, we love our neighbors. And you can see that by us just having a food ministry and an opportunity to be able to feed children. We want to be good neighbors. And so in doing that, we proactively have taken action. To accommodate the neighbors, we moved the trucks to the other side of the property. This made it a lot harder for our food ministry to be able to operate because volunteers had to prepare and load and transfer food from one end of the parking lot to the other. After numerous discussions and meetings with city officials, the church voluntarily, at its own expense, commissioned a sound study to put the issue to rest. Despite no such official request from the city, as far as I'm aware, even with the trucks turned off, there was no sound from them. The nearby highway sound exceeded the county sound limits in that direction. In other directions from the property, the sound is under the county limits. We have a rich history at Influence Church of stepping into action and helping our city and our community. We started our food ministry early in the pandemic when God called us specifically to help our community. At this time, children were not in school to receive meals, which was particularly hard on children who would normally receive free lunches. Food prices also increased during this time. Now, food prices and availability are being challenged further due to supply chain issues. Many families have very low food security, and we see that even proven by the USDA. They worry food will run out. They cannot afford a balanced meal. They cut the size of meals or skip meals. They're hungry, but they eat less. They're hungry and oftentimes eat less than they should or do not eat at all. Many of these families depend on our food ministry. In challenging times, we've provided healthy and safe food, snacks, and beverages, technical assistance to ensure well-balanced, nutritious meals. And we want to continue to be able to help our community do just that. Our desire is to continue to be a place where hurts are healed, needs are met, and dreams become reality for these children. Let us do what God has called us to do and continue to reach the city and the state of Missouri together. And I have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and an 18-month-old. And I'm extremely blessed. But we literally have received notes and emails from mayors that kids were eating roadkill before we got to them. Kids were eating roadkill before we got to them. And I can't imagine my 4-year-old, my 3-year-old, and my 18-month-old having to eat roadkill. I'm fortunate. But unfortunately, there's a lot of less fortunate people out there. And there's people right here in Bell Fountain that are less fortunate. And so we as a church and as a community want to be a part of the solution to continue to reach people. And all we ask is that we continue to work together to solve the problem. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I want to first start off by saying something in a very unbiased way. As an alderperson for 4 years.
I'm sorry. Can you give your name and address, please?
Dr. Miranda Von Elliott. So,
Address, please.
that's not required.
It is required.
No, it's not.
State your name and address, please.
Dr. Miranda Von Elliott. So, as an alderperson serving alongside of Alderman Carroll, I just want to let you all know, because I was on the call and assisting with advising you all to come to the board, I can honestly say that he has not displayed any racial tendencies that I have experienced. So I want to dispel that. He is very driven on policies, just like I was when I served in that capacity, and that's what our role is as legislators. So the concern about feeding children is not the concern. It's always the legislation and policy, so that you all can separate the two when it comes to why a legislator would advocate for compliance. Along the lines of the agenda, first I want to ask the mayor, the person that was speaking, is he going to be the CPA? Has there been an RFP established to allow for other organizations to actually bid for the services that he was speaking of providing?
Who you talking about?
The gentleman that spoke.
No, we'll handle that. We'll address that.
So you're saying that an RFP have been established for other
what I'm saying to you is state whatever is on your mind, and you will get an answer at the proper time.
Okay.
And tonight, right now, is not the proper time. So whatever you got to say, just go ahead and say it.
Is there a reason why your tone is elevating now?
Because you don't follow instructions.
Okay, going forward, on this agenda, I noticed that there are ordinances that relate to compensation for the duties of the office of chief of police. We know that the position has been moved off the agenda as far as the new position, and then another ordinance establishing compensation for all individuals and the director. Since we have lost a treasurer, I'm concerned that the city will be making those decisions without a treasurer, and it's time for a new budget, and that's an opportunity to reevaluate the finances and see if we are financially stable to add those compensations. And at this time, that is not known whether or not the city is completely stable to compensate those individuals in that way. So I would like to know more about how that's been addressed and when the city will replace the treasurer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir. Wanda Lane, 9915 Martindale. First, I'd like to say regarding the presentation from Mr. Rodman and Associates, he has, as he presented, all of the experience that we need in our city to help us move forward. I first met him at the fire department. He is the fire department financial person. I don't know if we call him treasurer. But as a citizen, you can listen to his presentation, not have any kind of formal financial training at all. And the book that I brought it in here that he presented to you guys is a fraction of what he presents to the fire department. And he breaks that down like a fraction. So I think that Rodman and Associates should be one of, if not the firm that you guys consider to help with the city finances. Regarding Influence Church, thank you so much for your presentation. It was sincere. I recall when the church wanted to distribute food from our parking lot, and that was voted down by former members of this board.
Underline form.
Former members of this board did not agree to the church distributing food on our parking lot. So we definitely understand the need in the community. We appreciate it. I'm sure we're going to work this out. And thank you also for clarifying that our mayor was not the mayor who said that our municipality was not the one who was so disadvantaged that our citizens have to eat roadkill. Because that's the misinformation that has been put on the internet by a citizen. So thank you so much for saying that. I'm sure that the board is going to make the right decision. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello. My name is Cynthia Harden. I live at 6 St. Thomas Court in Florissant, Missouri. For over 20 years, I have worked with the state as a foster parent or accordion with writing and a respite care provider. I presently drive for the special school district, and I've driven for Ferguson Enforcement School District. My kids are kids at Hazelwood School District. My son graduated from Hazelwood School District. My best interest is for the children and for the families that are located in North County. I am a public transporter. I've driven for medical transportation as well, and I know for a fact that there is a major need for food in this area. There are people that are physically unable to provide for their families, and what better resource than a church that comes and steps in to provide food for families that are in need. I drive for children right now, even presently, that can't wait to get to school to eat. And as we know, there were times when school wasn't in, and there were not places for them to get food. And I believe very sincere that if the motives and the intentions are really true and genuine, that the alderman in this area would work closely with Influence Church to assist and help to provide services that is needed for the residents that are in this neighborhood. And I most definitely could say for myself that if people were aware of this meeting that was going on, that there would be more Bell Fountain residents here present. I noticed this young lady here brought a piece of paper and asked who lives in this neighborhood, who lives in Bell Fountain. And I'm quite sure that we're aware that we're not from this area, but we do share the best interest for the families and the children in this neighborhood. And our church is more than willing and able to provide and support the neighborhood in order to bring about a healthy family environment and nurturing services to the community that probably could do more for the community than the political arena here if we are allowed the opportunity to do so. Again, my name is Cynthia Hart, and I am a North County resident, and I do have the best interest of this community all around the neighborhood, all around the community, and not just in Bell Fountain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Were you going to speak? I'd like to change it.
Change my mind. It's something that's so important to do. I am Cynthia, better known as Queen. 810 Maple Lane. My complaint, first complaint, is the police. A situation went on in my block a couple of weeks ago. I don't get in people's business, but the police officer was out of character. He was up there louder than the people who was in the situation. You should go to rectify the situation, not be a part of it. He was so loud. I'm 3 houses from where the incident went on. I'm sitting in my chair. I can hear him as if though he was in my front door. I left out my home in my pajamas. He pulled on the woman. You let the young man who you got called for pull cameras off the property in front of you. You're not stopping this young man. He's talking about a gun.
You allow him to go in the house? He could have came out with a gun and killed everybody else there. That's not, no. That's unacceptable. That is totally unacceptable. To be that disrespectful. And even when I went up there, he disrespectful, telling the captain, I don't have no business up here. I have all the right to be up here if I want to. I'm an activist and I'm going to live to die to be one. You know? My second one is, these homes is looking horrible.
Say that again?
The home, the community. It's horrible. We allow trailers to be on the side of homes, trailers to be in front of our homes, you know, just trash all in the back of your home. It's getting horrible. What are the police doing? They were allowed before to go and give a citation for high grass, for dirty vehicles, and things of that nature. We looking like Glasgow. And they look like them. So is that what we gonna come to? It's sad. It's sad. It is really sad. So after I talk about the officer that's out of control, this happened on a Friday. So on Saturday, the officer comes to my home. Yeah, comes to my home. I was talking to the neighbor. We thought he was just going across the street. He's coming to my house.
So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to come up here and speak to the receptionist and give her your statement, and we will look into it.
So this is what I want to say. Because I talked about the officer, now the officers are at my door, coming to my home about something that was brought up in October. This is April the 30th. So now I'm being harassed?
No, that's unacceptable. We will look into that.
This is sad. Getting to be a sad place to live.
Hello, my name is Denise Fields. My address is 942 Shada Rock Road. And my concern is, behind my home, there is a lot, an empty lot. The street is called Rayford. It's named Rayford. The lot has just gone to waste. I've been in Bell Fountain for 18 years. I've been in my home for 18 years. I bought my home for one of the reasons is because the lot was beautiful. It was drop dead gorgeous. It was well kept and well maintained. Now I call up here, my neighbors call up here, and we try to get something done about the lawn. The grass is growing up to my knees. The trees that are on that lot now have weeds that have grown all the way to the top. I used to be able to look out of my kitchen window and see clean across the street. I can't see anymore. I see the roof of homes, and that's it, because the weeds have grown so high. I don't know who owns the property. I've called up here several times. My neighbors have called up here several times, and we keep getting the runaround. We have to ask for the lawn to be cut. And now, if you look at it, it looks like a landfill where people throw trash. The grass is very high, and the trees, the weeds are all back there. Nobody is maintaining it. And they keep giving us the runaround about who owns it. And nobody seems to know anything. But I would appreciate it if something could be done to beautify the property again back there, the land. Then my last concern is, about 4 or 5 years ago, trucks didn't used to go up and down Shada Rock the way they do now. Not only dump trucks, but 18-wheelers are going up and down the street, cracking the street, putting cracks in the street, and holes, messing up everything. If something could be done about it, to redirect their traffic. I know there was some construction going on at the end of Chain of Rocks Road down by Hall Street, but it's done now. And the traffic, the trucks are still flowing up and down our street very fast at nighttime, very fast throughout the day. It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Derek Ross, 10618 Warhol. I'm here on behalf of saying that I've been a part of this food ministry since the pandemic. And I'm telling you, I quit my job after 17 years, me and my wife, because we felt that this was a passion for us to be in. What have I seen in the last 2 years with people not knowing what they was going to eat and to pull up on that church parking lot and literally be crying because they didn't know where they were going to get some food? Man, it is the most beautiful thing you would ever want to see. Because back in the days, when them food stamps were standing in that line, they was passing out that little USD food. Some of y'all know it. That government cheese. Your mama had in hand, and you waited on that meal. Man, it was the best sandwich you would ever have. But now look at it, man. It has involved, or the church is involved. For somebody to say that this guy, James Curl, whatever his name is, not a racist, I'm not here to make that choice. But I am here to say, well, why is he sitting on our parking lot on a Sunday with tinted windows, recording stuff, driving off our parking lot, drive back down the parking lot in his driveway, taking pictures, and when you come out, he's jumping his car like he's in a high-speed chase. I don't know if that's racist, but it don't seem right in my bones. I don't know about y'all. People jumping behind bushes with cameras. Like Bugs Bunny. One minute you looking out, hey, anything going on now? What the? Hey, come on now. What's going on really? Is it about the church? Is it about the pastor? Is it about the food ministry? Or is it personal? These are questions you really have to ask yourself. Or is it truly not about the kids? Because the most important thing in this world right now is the kids. This is the next generation. No food, guess what they're going to be doing? You ain't going to be coming up here, you're going to be calling the police because they're out there trying to get some food. At least here, we're bringing addicts, criminals, and everything, all because of this food. Somebody's life's going to get saved. They're going to hear something. All because of influenced food. Come on, man. Let's not play no game here. Look at it for what it's worth. Look at it for what it's worth. James Curl's not right. I don't care what you say.
Excuse me, sir. We didn't get your name.
Derek Ross.
Derek Ross.
Derek Ross. DOICKROSS.
Hi, my name is Yvette Jackson, and I'm at 918 Chain Rock. And I came tonight because I'm really sick of all the racing going up Chain of Rocks. It's to the point now where I tell my family, just don't come over because if you bag up, these idiots are going to hit your car. They're hitting cars. If you park on the street, you don't know what to expect coming out your door. I used to see police presence a lot. I feel like now, I just bought another camera, $300 camera. I'm trying to protect everything around me. Is there anything going to be done about all these cars speeding up and down? They don't care. I think it's a game now. And I want to be able to live in my home. I just have to move because these people have decided nobody's going to do anything to them. So if we can please get some help. The accidents at the corner of Chain of Rocks and Bell Fountain right by the fire station and the cemetery, it's a disgrace. I would like to get the pride I used to have living on my block. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle Pendleton. I reside at 1588 Boardwalk Avenue. I came up here on behalf of Influence Church and the Kids Eat Free program. I actually started there as a volunteer. And during the time I was a volunteer there, I didn't imagine, what predicament would come next, because I came in to pray my soul into a program that I believed in, and it actually answered the question for me: what are the kids that show up to school and don't have anything to eat want to do now? And that was my concern, because I'm a mother of 3 young ladies, 8, 10, and 15. But at the moment, as I volunteered, I became homeless, and I had to sleep in my car. And most people just didn't know, because I trust in God, and I believed in the Lord that He was going to turn things around. So I poured into the program. God began to pour into me through the program. And it's many nights Mr. Derek told me, hey, you got to pack something for you and the kids. Programs like this that save families, because I was encouraged by volunteering to keep going and seeing the families that came through my line after then my situation come up next at the same service. So then I walked through it, and I saw it firsthand, me separating from my children just because I couldn't afford to feed them. In the middle of the separation from their father. So you can only imagine the amount of stress that I was under at first. But showing up, volunteering for them, and seeing the other families help me, it encouraged me to keep going, and then they offered me a job. After being a stay-at-home mom for 7 years, I got back into the work field because of Influence Church. Started working all the hours I could work. I don't care if I got a lunch break, even if it comes out of my check, I don't care. I'm here because I see the kids that come through my line that want to get out and they want to hug me, and it's the middle of a pandemic, and I'm like, I can't touch you. But I know what I can do for you. I can put something extra in your bag next time you come. So I'm just grateful to be a part of a program that not only reached the people that was around me, but it reached me and it brought the confidence in me that I didn't have. And now I'm involved completely. My transportation is still moving. I have a home now. I have a family that shows up for me anytime that I need. And I didn't even live in this community. I lived in a rougher community, actually, and a couple of these people got me moved. Volunteered their own time to move me. So I know what's in this program, and I know what can come out of it, because I'm living proof. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jill Green. I live at 630 Major Lane, and I wanted to expound on my neighbors' concerns about I don't know what it is, derelict cars and the trash and the flatbed, whatever, lawn trailers and things like that are piled up on the side of homes. Now, I believe, I'm not sure, that you can haul all this stuff in your backyard if you so desire. But on the side of the home, I'm not sure. On the side of the home, where you can see from the front, and it's an eyesore to the neighborhood, that, it shouldn't be like that. And I called several times, and it's not to really tell on anybody, but just to get back when I moved in, the beauty of the neighborhood. It used to be very clean and neat, and everybody kept their property up, but I don't know if it's due to homeowners moving out and renters moving in. I'm not really sure. But whatever it is, I remember getting a citation for my grass being 8 inches high. And I didn't talk about it. I said, okay, the grass is too tall. Okay, no problem. But they have a whole house on the side of their actual home. It's just, it is. And there's nothing being done. And I try my hardest to make sure that I keep everything off the side of my house except for my trash dumpster. That's it. And I know a lot of my neighbors, like you said, need. But it's just heartening when you can, see other people just trash, we leave stuff on the side of the house and continue to pile it up, and it's years. They can have this stuff there for years and nothing happens. I spoke to maybe the mayor before, maybe other people in the office, that it's a process you have to go through, but when you say 3 years, how long is the process? How long does it take for you to tell someone, okay, just move it to your backyard? You know, if you want to keep it, okay, fine, just move it out to the backyard, you know, or I don't know how long it takes, but it really is an eyesore. And the second thing I want to mention is speeding up and down the street. Me and another neighbor of mine said, I guess they're going to wait until maybe some children get ran over. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait until some kids get ran over. I mean, right. Right. They're knock down light poles and street signs and everything else. I guess they're just waiting for a life to be lost before they put some speed humps on the street somewhere. Now, our street is not, I guess, a county maintained street. So our street, neighbor, what is it, Belafonte neighbor, Coley Trio. Can they get some speed humps? Can we start having that discussion about some speed humps? Not the bump, but the hump. You know, to slow down. Not to, tear somebody's suspension up or to tear the exhaust system out, but just to slow them down. Because after a while, when they know the humps are there, they're going to have to slow down because they don't want to tear their car and get all over.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You have something to say? I'm listening.
Anyone else? No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, your point's well taken.
All right, thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Barbara West, 9741 Calumet Drive. I agree with a lot of what this young lady was saying, and I would like for you to know that speed humps has been in the budget for a number of years. So I don't know what the holdup is or has been. The second thing is I was listening on Zoom before I came, and someone said this community was not poor or was poor. And I remember saying in a board meeting to all the women there that our community has now become poor. And she vehemently disagreed. Now about food here. No one is trying to stop them from giving away free food. But I want to correct what the preacher said, which is that we eat roadkill in Bellefonte name. We do not. You can shake your head, but I listened to the tape. That's what he said. Before he came, we ate roadkill. So, okay, well that's what I heard. Okay. So, okay, well I heard it wrong. But the point of it is that they're not just giving food away, they're also selling food. But the issue is that they are not abiding by our ordinances. And we cannot just submit ordinances or abide by them when the mood hits us. We complain about the tall grass, the speeding, the expired license plates, and the list goes on and on and on. So if we're going to ignore them not following the guidelines, then we might as well allow everybody to do what it is they want to do. And then we'll see just how fast this city is going to continue to go down. Alicia, I want to commend you on a question you asked at another meeting. I think you know what it is. Teresa, I want to say to you, and first of all, congratulations to all of you. I want to say to you, please follow the advice the young man gave you from CWA. And I think you know what that is. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank all of you. All right.
Anthony Green, 9228 Wardoff Drive. Again, the situation, we've been going back and forth.
as Alderman West said about whether or not the speed bumps are in the budget. For new board of 8, the mayor's here. I think we should be getting the speed bump up. If you can't, be transparent. Let's have a conversation about why we're not getting it. If there's engineering studies we need, wherever we are in the process, what I don't want to do is go back and forth between the Public Safety Committee, the mayor, and the 8, all the people, to all touch and agree whether or not the money's in the budget. Because that really would be the responsibility of the treasurer, where he is today. So I'm just like, I want the speed bump. You know, how many people does it take to put up the light bulb and make it illuminate? We should get the speed bumps or not hit them. Either way, but just let's be transparent about that. The other thing is, I think every meeting we should get an update about where we are on the building inspector. I don't think it's our responsibility to fill that position. If you want to hire a executive recruiter using our tax money, I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is putting it back on us to help find that person. So I want all 8 who have a fiduciary duty to the city to really look into the purse strings and hire a person who can get that person in so we can do code enforcement. We can't talk about code enforcement if we don't have the actual staff to do it. So I'm trying to figure out why we go from meeting to meeting to meeting, everybody shakes their head, gives me the okie doke, and we're not pushing it forward. We just have Robin here for the county stuff. That's great. Let's use him. But we need an executive recruiter to hire the building inspector. And it doesn't take 6 or 7 or 8 months to do that. It just takes people working together and being transparent and reporting what's changed meeting to meeting. I would like to hear what actions have been taken between the May 6th and this is what, the 20th? 19th, whatever, 19th. What happened between this meeting and now about the building inspector? Have we found one? Are we getting a executive recruiter to find it? Because that is one of the key things everybody's complaining about is code enforcement. So if you don't have a person, that's a nice issue. We need to get somebody to find that person and also, if necessary, compensate them a salary that's commensurate with the job. We can't keep on asking people to do pit and pay and hopefully we'll find them. We have to see if the salary is right, do a salary review for the building inspector to see if the wage is right. But it's time to move the needle. And the last thing, I'm sorry, I'm done. I want all the board of 8 to eventually pass some ordinance about this whole attendance fiasco we had last year. I think it would be obscene for you to go through additional meetings if y'all don't pass an ordinance about that whole attendance. Whatever you decide on, I'm okay with it. But to not pass an ordinance after what we experienced, and that's why 22, that whole period from January 2021 to really December 2021, we missed 6 months of meeting. Y'all should be looking at presenting an ordinance to address the shenanigans that occurred. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, we will move on. But thank you all for your comments and your statements, what have you. But I want you to know that this city cares about its residents. All of them care about them.
Excuse me. Did you turn on your microphone?
It's not on. You can't hear me?
No. Well, it's just kind of muffled.
It's muffled? All right. Well, very briefly, I believe in Matthew chapter 25, around about the 30th verse, and I won't go through the whole deal, but that was separation. And it had to do with when I was hungry. One of them, you didn't feed me.
Yeah.
We believe in that. We believe in taking care of our citizens, and we're going to do something about the speeding and all of that other stuff. But you can't deal with the real problems of this city when you have people who have other ideas, personal agendas. And the citizens have almost taken care of that. And I think they will complete it in the next election. So thank all of you for coming, and we'll get down to the rest of our business. But we're not going to try to stop anybody from feeding kids. And we're not going to, we respect and appreciate church ministries. So, I do anyway. So, all right, thank you all. Now we'll get back to our agenda. The city treasurer's report, well, at this point, we don't have a city treasurer. At the last meeting, the city treasurer gave me his resignation. Patrick Howard was city treasurer. And I'll just read it very briefly. Treasurer's resignation. It says, please accept in the formal notice of resignation from the city treasurer's position effective 2 weeks from this date. Today is the 2 weeks. And so he said, thank you for your support and opportunity to serve the city of Belmont neighbors these past few years. Best wishes on the future of the city. Howard Patrick. All right. And approval of invoices over 500.
I would like to make a motion to approve the invoices over 500, beginning with July 21, ending in May 17th of 22.
I say.
It's moved and properly second approval of the invoices over 500 through those dates that were named. Are there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Abstain.
Okay. Ayes have it. All right. Approval of costs to send court clerk to Missouri Court First Conference. Is there a motion for it? Do you have it on your desk?
I move to make the motion to allow the city court clerk to attend the Missouri Court Clerk Conference.
Is there a second? Are there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Can I just guess what the cost of that?
It's in here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's towards the back.
Got it. All right. Thank you. Sorry.
All right. Any other questions? Not? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Ayes have it. City collectors report.
I don't have a report tonight.
All right. No report. City engineer.
Good evening, Mayor, Alderman, Alderwoman. You have a copy of the city engineer's report, and I figure if you have any questions also on the building commissioner's report, since we do not have one. Kelsey's been kept pretty busy and doing the inspections. We did over 113 this past month, considering he's doing it part-time 3 days a week. A couple other items of note. Been working with logistics company on 1126 logo. They're looking for the concrete drive. They gotta change some things on the drawing. Working with just approved CCs, putting in a breach and hood so she'll be able to get her license to sell hot food. I've been working with Jimmy and Patrick on reviewing what the engineer is coming up with the roof for our gymnasium, so hopefully we'll have something to present in the next couple of months. They're reviewing some of our options. And then also working with trying to figure the Lewis and Clark 9316 Lewis and Clark irrigation. They're trying to get the permit. There's some items that I just got today from them that I'll be reviewing. Are there any other questions for me? Any questions?
I have a question. You said somebody can sell hot food.
She did that. That was CT, and that was the former Dairy Queen. And she did not have, she did not have a hood for grease and all. So she got her inspection from the fire marshal. So she said there were a couple items that they had to take care of on the roof with some safety railing, which they have taken care of, and I've got that going, and so she should be good to go. She had already had some other inspections, and those were the things that she needed to get done.
Are you finished with? Oh, I'm sorry. and maybe Dinah asked you this, have we decided what type of speed humps we're going?
Well, when you go speed bumps, those are kind of inexpensive, but you know what a bump is? I mean, no matter what speed you go, you're going to feel it. A speed hump is if you drive the speed limit that it's designed for, you won't feel it. But if you don't, you will. Now, the cost is a lot more. There are some pre-manufactured speed humps which aren't quite as good as if you do an asphalt. Prices keep fluctuating right now, but a year ago when I got some pricing for doing an asphalt speed hump, you're looking somewhere around $3,000 per placement. Plus you have to get some signage and painting to market. Those what I call pre-manufactured speed humps, and I think Delwood has a few of them. They're probably around right under $1,000. With those, you can have spare parts, so if they do, great. You know, you can change them out. They come in sections. So I know that over the city of Glendale has speed bumps right there along Normandy Golf Course. Those are nice. I mean, if you just set your car at the 20, 25 miles an hour, it's nice, but one time when it was fast. If you don't, you will feel it.
Thank you very much, Clayton. Can you maybe send the board just an overview of the different ones so we can start?
Okay, well then the next thing to do is then we'd have to figure with, and I apologize, I was not aware of that. We had that budgeted in the budget so that we should see how much we have, get with Chief Heiler and also you to figure out where we want to start, you know, because obviously we can't do everything, so we have to kind of prioritize which ones are.
I'm basically asking for samples that you send to the board, the ones that you recommend. Because our citizens are going to be driving through, we don't want to tear up their cars. So maybe out of the 10 that you pick, the ones that are more, that won't tear up the citizens that live in the city car, because they got to go over them every day.
A speed hump would be better, but like I said, they're more costly, but if you drive it, you'll be fine. You won't feel the jolt, whereas the pre-manufactured speed humps, you'll still feel it.
Thank you.
I'm going to recognize the chair.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Hello?
Yes. Go right ahead.
Hello? We can hear you, Dinah. Go ahead. Hello? We can hear you, Dinah. Go ahead. Ask your question.
Okay. No, I was going to ask Clayton if he would, as Alderwoman Dales asked for. He and I have been working on this for 3 years, and I think, Clayton, you had actually sent me at one time different styles.
Yes.
And also, if the chief would, during his report, kind of give an update on what the pilot program that we talked about during the summit.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Have you had any chance to talk to St. Louis County about the inspector?
Patrick has done more than what I have. It's just a matter I need to get some time to sit and talk with Mayor Pearson too. Some of the options that would be in front of us. I've been talking with Judy, and Judy's been talking with Kelsey how this could, how we would get that to work for us using St. Louis County. We would still need to have hire at least 2 people just doing clerical work, and we still have to have Kelsey just as our own to go around, because we have to give the list to St. Louis County. These are the ones that we want you to go look at.
Right. I think that is, and as the citizens heard, or as you heard, we are working toward getting a inspector. And I know that once we get that inspector, it will change. We're not going to turn into other cities of disrepair.
And there's quite a few cities in the St. Louis area that use St. Louis County as their inspector.
Right. Thank you.
Do you want me to expound upon that? I have some further information if you want. I did a cost analysis study between the job of building inspector as hired by the city as an employee compared to contracting the services of St. Louis County to do our inspections. Now, St. Louis County doesn't charge for that service, but they do collect the fees. And I talked to Judy, and this is a while back when I did this study. About 60% of the time, the building inspector was doing inspections. About 40% of the time, we were doing code enforcement. So, code enforcement is about $47 an hour last time I checked, and it was in the last 6 months when I did this study. And bottom line, what you're looking at is you want to get the most bang for the buck. And there is a significant savings going with county, but it's really up to some of the stakeholders, the employees, and the board as to whether or not they want to go that route.
Thank you, Chief.
Anything else? Anyone else? No questions? I would say this, that we need to really take a hard look at speed bumps and humps, because you got to remember, if they slow down regular traffic, they slow down the emergency vehicles too. And when someone's having a heart attack or something, those minutes can be precious. So you really have to take a close look at it. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not for at this point or against. It's just that we need to look at it real hard and look at all of the consequences. All righty, thank you very much. Thank you for your report. Is somebody saying something? Yeah. Yes. Carol.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to speak to that issue. I talked to the chief of the fire chief several years ago about that very issue, and what he was telling me that apparently they have some sort of navigation system in each one of their trucks and in the ambulances and stuff like that, and if the city informs whatever keeps that. I don't know what you want to call it, but that navigation system, that mapping system, if the city informs that company that manages that, they'll put that in there so that when they're routed to an emergency, they'll bypass all of that.
All right, thank you.
Also, Chief Goldstein gave me a letter that should still be on file when we first presented it 2.5, 3 years ago. So that should still be on file with the city too. The letter that Chief Goldstein presented to us concerning that issue.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your report. Commission and board's report, planning and zoning.
Good evening, everybody. In our meeting March 14th and April 11th, we reviewed some changes in ordinances regarding political signs, as requested by the chief. These changes were requested to bring the city ordinances in line with First Amendment rights regarding free speech. In particular, there were changes to sections 19-4, posters, signs, etc., and section 2991, signs in residential districts. With some following work by the city attorney for section 29.9, definition. There's another ordinance requiring amendment. Hopefully, most, perhaps all of the older people have memo on this, and our proposed changes are shown in italics here. 19-4, we're substituting the word "or" for the word "on." We're adding a definition to 29.9 concerning what a sign is. Under Section 2991, signs in residential districts, we would be striking subpart 6A and subpart 6E. We respectfully request the floor of all the persons review the above amendments and vote on them at their next opportunity. That is my report.
Any questions?
I have one. You said you're striking 6B. I don't see the line going through it, so I'm assuming 6B will remain.
6E.
6E. Okay.
6A and 6E.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a question. When you were in the bushes taking pictures, did you identify yourself as a commissioner for the city of Belmont?
I identify myself by my name and that I'm a resident of Belmont.
Okay. So that was you in the bushes?
I was not in the bushes.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. Chief, report.
Current information, when the storm came through, nowhere in the city did they lose power. I think there was a couple residents over Riverview that did, and one or two over Kessel. Aside from that, we were affected. Wi-Fi and some other systems went down, so I experienced that as well. I do appreciate Influence Church coming out this evening. Part of being a community and part of being a police officer is the same thing. And it should be everybody's character wants to help others. And that's what I do for a living, and that's what I do in my personal life. And that's if you choose to do that, it's a great thing. So I'm happy you're here. Let's see. So we were talking about the condition of the city as a whole, the high grass, from the derelict properties, a lot of the issues that really are kind of overwhelming us right now. I have the power through our health and sanitation ordinance to enter on certain properties after I comply with certain things with the law. But it's a very, very thin layer against the Fourth Amendment, which is search and seizure, have your home and property, not be the government. So this is a long time coming, but we do have a meeting June 2nd with all the stakeholders. It's the board, the judge, the prosecutor, myself, a few other people. We have something called what's called administrative warrants that can take care of a lot of those problems. Where it doesn't, it's not a Fourth Amendment violation. This is close to it, but there is a process to that. And this last meeting has to discuss how that work process goes. We already have an amendment ordinance in place. We have forms and everything else in place to do this. All we need to do is have a big meeting on how the work flow process is. And I want the board to be a part of that. So when we start doing this, because it's going to be pretty common. After we start enforcing it, start cleaning up a lot of these properties, and we're going to start with the worst ones first, and just pick away until we do it. And that's the police department, the street department, and a lot of the other employees that work for the city. They're going to be involved in this. It'll be a big project, but over time you will see that. I can promise you that. I was able to get the second submission in for the city's ARPA money. We received $1,048,000 last year, and the estimate that was given to us is somewhere between 1.9 and 2.3 million. That estimate was given because on the 2.3 million side was if you didn't have to share your money with your township. Don't ask me how that works because I really don't know. But the number actually has changed. They on the 1.9. It's actually 2.1. So we're expecting to get $218,000 more than was originally expected. So our next injection of ARPA funds would be $1,070,000, somewhere around there. So that's good news. Just talking about speed humps and speed bumps. I did identify 4 streets in each ward. The basic things I was looking at is length of street, street that signage, street that Lily. So if I had one in each ward to see how it worked out. And so the choices I made were Dinky through Waldorf, the north side of Jennings Station Road, because Dinky turns into Waldorf, and the Jennings Station Road, and the south side. So it's only the north side. The length of Ashbrook, the length of Shepley, because it is a huge hill, and Forest Home, which is similar to that of Shepley. The other issue is I'm not an engineer. I don't have any experience in proper placement of speed bumps or speed humps. So that will have to be dealt with at a different level than mine. I'll be involved in it still. My job in this process was to provide best places to try this project first. Let's see. Crime. We're doing really good this year overall. And I'm just talking about Part 1 crimes: homicide, rape, robbery, assault, burglary, larceny, and motor vehicle theft. Compared to this year, or last year this time, we are down 16%. Whereas the year before, comparing 2020 2021, we were down 28%. So it keeps going down. That's the point. Our motor vehicle theft is low. Our burglary rates are low. If you look years past, our burglary rates were much higher, and so were our motor vehicle thefts. The problem we are still having is, I call it assaultive behavior. Assault. So homicide is classified as if you're assaulted and you die. Homicide. Anything other than that is an assault, whether it's simple or serious. It is out of control. We had 45 incidents in March where assault was like 69%. That's hard to control, like I've talked about before. Almost all of these instances, the victim and the suspect know each other. A lot of times we have problems getting cooperation from victims to pursue charges against suspects. But we do the best we can, and I'm going to tell you again, if you think you have a neighbor on your street that's having a domestic problem, please let us know. We don't mind going knock on doors, talking to people. I'd rather do that before something explosive happens. Missouri Highway Patrol is continuing their traffic enforcement saturation along the northern corridor of I-270. They haven't given an end date for that. I would rather keep police officers in the city, in the neighborhoods. I don't mind if they go on the highway, but I would much rather have State Patrol handle that. Other than that, I have no questions.
Any questions, Chief?
Chief?
That's what Bowen asked Chief a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And board members want to ask. I mean, you'll have a chance to ask a question.
Just for the citizens, Chief, in Chapter 17, Section 170, our police officers can ticket those that have commercial vehicles and driveways, trailers, 18-wheelers parked on our streets. Is that correct?
Right.
And right now, our police department is also helping in the building department with some of the code problems.
Mostly grass.
Yes.
We discussed this at the special meeting last week.
And it's just for the citizens to notice that the policemen are helping.
Yeah, and this was kind of a big deal because every year there is 150 properties. 152, not quite two, okay. There's 152 properties that the city traditionally has to go on the property and cut the grass. Since we are lacking certain key personnel, I took on that and I gave that to my workforce, and they posted all the postings they needed to where one person would have had that done. So we're working cross to try to get things done a little bit more efficiently, and so we still try to provide a similar service. I know it's not the service that you're used to because we're a little bit understaffed, but we're still trying our best to keep that level high.
Yes.
Chief, can you tell us how many police officers we are short? 8. And how many we would normally have with a full load?
31.
31, so we're down 10.
And so we do have 3 people right now closing their hiring process. So that's good news. And there's a few more that we have recently brought in to start on. It's been a very difficult process. I'm not the only one. Policing is not popular, period. It's hard to get people into it. And all we're doing is trading people around. St. Louis is very few people getting into it, and everybody just kind of, poaching from each other. But the Public Works Department, we're having problems getting workers in there. So it's not just the police. I mean, getting a workforce together across the board has been more difficult than ever. I've never seen anything like this.
All right. Anyone else?
I'd like to know if it's okay if I call you in the property and as far as abandoned property.
I'm forward to ask questions.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll never get out here. We start
Okay, thank you.
All right, sit this time.
Thank you, Mayor. And good evening, everyone. Good evening. I just want to piggyback off of what the chief reported on. The proposed administrative warrant ordinance, which amends section 18-13B of the city's code, if properly implemented, will provide the city a valuable tool in enforcing its property, occupancy, and housing ordinances. And we've heard a lot about problems with enforcement. This ordinance will provide the city a tool that it's been needing for a long time to do that. The ordinance has been thoroughly vetted, as the chief mentioned. The chief has reviewed it, the city engineer has reviewed it, the judge has reviewed it, the prosecuting attorney has reviewed it, and now we are awaiting the input from the board and from the public. The city needs this ordinance and has needed it for some time, so it's really good to see it coming before the board. And we're looking forward to discussing this with you and getting your valuable input. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Old business, bill number 2614.
Yes, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion for the first and second reading of bill number 2614.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. An ordinance repealing ordinance number 2430 and establishing compensation for performing the duties of the office of chief of police for the city of Bellefontaine.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with nay? All right, second reading.
Second reading bill number 2614, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 2430 and establishing compensation for performing the duties of the chief of police of the office of chief of police for the city of Bellefontaine.
Is there a second?
2403.
I beg your pardon.
I got 2430. It's supposed to be 2403.
That's the repealing order number is 2403.
But in section 1 it says 2430.
Right.
So they 2430. 2430. All right, just change the number. Okay. Was that second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any discussion?
Okay.
All right, roll call vote.
Alderman Tappan.
Did she hear me?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Yes. I can hear you now.
Okay, what's your vote?
Abstain.
Alderman Hester. Yes. Alderman Carroll.
No.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harmon Watts. Yes. Alderman Gale.
Yes.
And Alderman Smith.
Abstain.
On a vote of, I guess it's 2 abstains and 1 no.
All right, motion passes.
No.
It failed. No.
That's it.
We get five.
You need 6 for ordinance.
Five.
No, you need 5 votes to pass it. You need 5. You need 6 to override a veto, and I haven't vetoed it yet.
5 to 10.
Yes, we got 5. So the motion passes. All right.
Bill number 2614 will become ordinance 2607 when and if the mayor signs it.
All right, bill number 2615.
2615 was tabled.
On the table. All right, bill number 2617.
I'd like to make a motion for the first and second reading of Bill 2615. An ordinance creating a new position in the police department and establishing compensation related thereto.
Actually, that was me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can we read that right? 2617. My mistake. Yeah, 17.
No.
That's 2617.
26. I make a motion.
Go ahead.
I make a motion for the first and second reading in short form of Bill number 2617. An ordinance repealing ordinance number 2432 and establishing compensation for performing the duties of the office of Director of Public Works for the city of Bellefontaine.
Is there a second?
I second.
Are there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Ayes have it.
Second reading for bill number 2617 in short form. An ordinance repealing ordinance number 2432 and establishing compensation for performing the duties of the office of Director of Public Works for the city of Belle Fountain.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I got a question.
All right, what's your question?
We're on item C under old business, right? Bill number 2617. I keep breaking up on me.
Yes.
Okay, so we're voting on compensation for the Director of Public Works. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Alderwoman Evans.
Yes.
Alderwoman Hester.
Yes.
Alderman Carroll.
Yes.
Alderwoman Warner.
Yes.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harmon Ward.
Yes.
Alderwoman Gale.
Yes.
And Alderwoman Smith.
Yes.
With it being unanimous, the
Motion carries.
now passed. Bill number 2617 will become ordinance 2608 when and if the mayor signs it.
All right. Bill number 2618.
I make a motion for the first and second reading of bill number 2618 in short form. An ordinance updating the pay plan and compensation for certain employees in the classified service of the city of Belle Fountain, Missouri, and repealing other ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any further discussion?
I have a question.
What's the question?
The question is, when you become the attorney, this is for the attorney, everyone's position is on here except for the receptionist. How will we address that?
Why is it not included?
Right.
I asked earlier, and it was just said it was going to be taken care of. That was my question. Who made this out if we left the main person at the front desk?
Recording in progress.
I make a motion. What is the,
It's a computer.
Oh,
that's somebody's phone. I don't know what I was.
Can we amend that to add her?
Mayor, it's a little problematic because, it's not, this information was posted.
Okay. So we can do that.
We can table it. Can we table it?
You'll have to.
Yeah, we can do it later. We can do it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then I make a motion of table, bill number 2618.
Okay.
Good.
I
All right.
second.
Okay. All right. So the bill has been taken.
Thank you.
So you need a vote, Mayor.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right.
No,
I make a motion.
And I think it.
Number 2619.
Yes. I would like to make a motion for the first reading of bill number 2619 and move over to the second reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Second reading.
Bill number 2619, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with the United States Department of Justice.
I second.
All right. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I got a
me.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Chapman.
Yes.
Alderwoman Hudson. Yes. Alderman Carroll.
No.
Alderwoman Warren. Yes. Alderman Thomas.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harmon Ward.
Yes.
Alderman Gale.
Yes.
And Alderwoman Smith.
Yes.
With a vote of 7 yeses and 1 no, the motion passes. And this bill number 2619 will become 2609, ordinance 2609, when and if the mayor signs.
Thank you. New business, bill number 2617.
We have another ordinance.
Which one?
26.
What did I say? 20, okay, it's 2627.
Yes, sir. I would like to make a motion for the first reading for bill number 2627 and move on to the second reading.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed was made. All right, proceed.
Bill number 2627, an ordinance amending chapter 2, administration of the code of ordinance of the city of Bellefonte Neighbors, Missouri, and adding section 2-18 of article 2 regarding the forfeiture of office.
I second.
All right, are there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
For this second reading, roll call.
Alderwoman Chapman.
Yes.
Alderwoman Hester.
Yes.
Alderman Carroll.
No.
Alderwoman Warren.
Yes.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harmon Ward.
Yes.
Alderman Gale.
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith.
Yes.
With a vote of 7 to 9, bill number 2627 will become ordinance number 2610 when and if the mayor signs.
Bill number 2628.
I'd like to make a motion for the first and second reading for bill number 2628.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. Second reading.
I'd like to make a motion for, I'd like to make a motion for bill number 2628, an ordinance authorizing a memorandum of agreement with Athenia Healthcare, if he is ordained by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Bellefonte Neighbors as follows. It's an MOA agreement.
A second.
Who said second?
A second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. All right, motion carries. All right, report of the mayor, and I pretty much kind of given you all my little report along. I'm very happy that we were able to. Yes.
It carries, but what's the new ordinance? I don't know.
It's a memorandum.
So 2628, Bill 2628 is passed and will become 2611 when and if the mayor signs.
We got straight.
We didn't do a roll call vote. We normally do four.
All right, roll call vote. Let's do a roll call.
Alderwoman Chapman.
Yes.
Alderwoman Hester.
Yes.
Yes.
Alderman Carroll.
Yes.
Alderwoman
Yes. Alderman Thomas?
Yes.
Alderman Harmon Ward? Yes. Alderman Dale?
Yes.
Alderman Smith?
Absolutely.
Yes. With the unanimous council. And it's still going to be ordinance 2611, one estimated site.
Thank you.
There was no, it was none?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All righty, well, thank you very much. I'm happy to clean this agenda up. It has been lingering too long, so we can start off now. New business. This is a part of the mayor's report. Thank you all for coming up, voicing your opinion. That's what democracy is all about. And we will do our part to make sure that you continue to do the good work that you do for our community. I'm happy, Chief, and I'm just piggybacking off of him as far as the ARPA money is concerned. I'm so happy that we got that. I don't know what to do. If I was 5 years younger, I'd walk out there and do a happy dance. But you all would appreciate it if I did that. So, but we will. This city will begin to look better and do better. We do need officers. We are looking for officers. We're going to be hiring officers. I believe that there are a lot of places we could elevate police presence, stop them out of the speeding, and so that we don't need speed bumps all over the city, because speed bumps can be dangerous to people who get sick and need an ambulance right away. So we'll take that under consideration, but there are streets that perhaps we can do speed bumps or humps. But all of this needs to be studied, looked at. We want to do what is in the best interest of our citizens, and we will do that. So that is all that I have to say. I think I said enough as we went along.
Can we get some black officers?
Somebody say something?
Yes. Yes, you did.
Oh, no, you come up here. You come up. Wait a minute. So, report of the Board of Aldermen.
Alderwoman Chapman.
Yes, I just wanted to say to the board that you guys received the document concerning the agreement with Nation University. I want to thank the chief for checking with our insurance certificate. And so we're looking forward to that coming into fruition. Of course, if you have any questions, reach out to myself or the chief. Also, we finally got the paper signed for Riverview Gardens. I'm excited about that, about the school board, because they're going to be partnering with us not only on the summit, but some other issues. I'm glad that we have one of our best advocates and Citizen Wally Lane on the board that will be helping with some initiatives as well. Also, I want to commend my colleague, Ms. Hester, who has hit the pavement running. She's been out there in the community checking on what the community needs, but also sharing with the community those things they didn't know. When we talk about enforcement, she's been sharing with them about the ordinances that they may have been in violation with, and the reception that she has gotten has been tremendous. People have not been combative. They didn't know. They welcomed the information. And, of course, for the mighty best street department in this region, I want to give a shout-out to Jeff and his team. They have always been commendable in taking care of issues that we've had in Ward 1, and I know they don't just go our ward, but I want to commend them for taking care of some issues that could have turned into something bad. So that's all I have. Thank you to the citizens who were still present. Thank our eyes and our ears. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out. You can hear me. I just want to say thank you for entrusting me with your vote. And I am out there hitting the pavement, answering calls, and going out when I do get a call to find out what the issue is. And not just, I get the call, and then I go out and find out what the issue is, and then I make a call to whoever it is that can help me, point me in the right direction in order to get the issue fixed. So it is an endless job, a thankless job, but I signed up for it, and I am honored to do the work. So it does take time, so it's not an overnight thing. So just have patience.
Thank you.
Alderman Carroll?
No report.
Thank you. Alderman Horton?
I'd just like to say good evening, and I'm glad you all are here. And that's part of our job, is to be problem solvers. So if we don't know something's wrong, then we can fix it, or at least find somebody to fix it. So be vocal. Be vocal. Call on the phone. Call up here to City Hall. Come to meetings. That's the only way we really know what people are thinking. And hopefully we'll be able to help you. So have a good evening.
Alderman Thomas?
Good evening. I'd like to thank the members that were here and the members that are still here from Influence Church. The program of serving the people is, as the mayor said, is biblical. And is so much needed. And then I'll repeat something that was said earlier. The church was stationed right here on our parking lot, right out front, for a long time. But it came to an impasse where certain board members felt that they didn't need to be there anymore. And it was sad when they weren't here anymore, because people were actually still coming up here looking for you. And thank God that you were right down the street and not across town at one of your other campuses. I applaud you, and know that we're here with you. The board is going to support you. The city is going to support you in your endeavor. Also, I too have been receiving phone calls for the different incidents in the city, and been passing it along, and been getting some good results. People thought that this one person, I'll just give this short story, she thought that this hole next between her and her neighbor's house was hers. And for a long time, she wasn't getting the right answer. But working with the street department, we got it taken care of in a couple of hours. It's MSD's problem. MSD is going to fix it, and she's happy. Again, it's been repeated. I'll repeat it. You are our eyes. We can't be every place. So when we do receive a phone call, we do investigate. We do find out what needs to be done, because we are more than legislators. We've been elected legislators, but we are here to help you in this community. Thank you.
Alderman Harmon Martin?
Good evening. I just want to thank you all for coming, and before I say anything, thank you for what you do. Serving the people, or what we're here to put on this earth to do. And I can't say enough about what your mission is, and anything that I can do to help your mission, I'm willing to do, because you all are doing God's work, and I'll leave that there.
Thank you. I'd like to say hi to everybody. Thank you for coming out. I'm glad to see Influence Church showed up. And like I told your chief of staff, we support you. And we're going to do everything it takes to make sure that you don't have to continually go through the mess that you've been put out in front on the news about. Hopefully we get you back on our line. This upcoming Tuesday, we're having a block unit meeting for our citizens. You're welcome to come. There's going to be a CPR right here in this room. Anybody's welcome to come. I hope to get the whole church to come to the Black History Juneteenth program on June 18th. And if you have members at your church, you know, and they want to sell something, then we're open to the bid. I'm so happy that you all are here, and we love you guys. And if you come back, could you bring the singing choir? And just let Pastor know that we support him, and hopefully we won't have to continue with this here. She said, what about the cake? Okay. That's a secret, so don't tell anybody. Remember, we went over this before the meeting started, so nobody's doing right now. So thank you very much. Now we do know. I'm going to share. Oh, Lord. So thank you guys for coming. We really, really appreciate it. We really, all of us, we do support you. We do.
Good evening, everyone. Last but not least, I thank everyone for coming out. I'm glad to see so many lovely faces. Like the rest of my colleagues and board members, I too support the Influence Church. I'm glad you guys are here. I was a part of the Youth Commission who came out, and you guys served our community, fed our community, so I thank you so much for continuing to do the work. I am not a middleman, but I have seen some of the news media and coverage, and I apologize to you for not, one, knowing everything that's going on, but two, when it comes to anyone who can stand in the way of helping and feeding a child, whether they are in need or not. They are kids. So I thank you. I thank you so much for continuing to do the work and helping citizens in the community, the kids in the community, and anyone that is in need. I myself have worked with the chief with some of the issues that have gone on in Ward 4. I will be tapping on the street department's door very, very soon, like tonight soon. Anyone knows me knows. I'm just like you. The issues that you may have, I have those same issues. So if you need me, you know where to find me. If you do not have my card, I have them readily and available to give to you. I would love to meet you. Again, I am Alicia Smith in Ward 4. To answer your question, Queen, that's a question that I asked myself to the chief. I am extremely transparent with that same comment and question. But I thank you for your comments. Thank you, everyone.
All righty. We're going to give you our citizens the final word. And so I don't need to say anything after that. Let me just say this to Influence Church. You have lived up to your name tonight. You have influenced us. Ms. Lane?
Yes, sir. Out of respect for everybody's time, because we're getting late. But I can't miss this opportunity. There are so many people here, and people who may know residents who have children in the Riverview Garden School District. My name is Wanda Lane. I was recently elected to the Special Administrative Board of the Riverview Garden School District. Okay? We are having a community forum next Tuesday on the 24th at Westview Middle School. This is an opportunity for everybody to come out and share your thoughts, your ideas, good, bad, whatever. The desire is to improve and move the district forward. And we can't do that without participation from our parents, our community leaders, all the stakeholders here. And so we're asking that you all come out for that forum. Please, it is at 7:30. And I'm sorry, Alderwoman, I know you got a block unit meeting that day. But
You should be over by then.
Thank you. Thank you, because it is Tuesday, May 24th. Okay, so please, if you can, please board, if you can. We need to have some attendance. And then the last thing I'm going to say is regarding Riverview Garden School District. The Missouri Board of Education made an announcement. Riverview Garden School District welcomes Tommy Hartley III and Shannon Holt to the Riverview Garden School District Special Administration Board. We know Tommy, we know Reverend Hartley, and we're welcoming him. Shannon Holt was my running mate on my ticket, so you know I'm very pleased with that. Hartley and Holt were appointed to the State Board of Education on May 17, that's just a couple of days ago, to fill the seats held by Lynn Beckworth Jr. and Miranda Abad Elliott. So we're a hybrid board. Partly appointed by the state, and then the last two of us have been elected. These things are necessary to move the district forward toward full accreditation. Okay? And all this information that I just shared with you is on the Riverview Garden School website. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Final comment. I know Mr. Green, he may be making a comment. He has always expressed interest in the finance. I don't know if he'll be interested in taking employment. But my concern, Mayor, is that with the treasurer being gone and not having a city clerk, and those are the other two people who sign off on checks and other expenses, what will be the method of addressing the expenses of the city when those are the two signees in addition to yourself? So that's the concern that I wanted to bring up. In addition to my peer, as far as the board meeting, the town hall, we do have a meeting at 6:30. So the special administrative board will meet before that, so you want to hear the business of the school district along with the community forum. So please come out for that as well. Thank you.
Anthony Green, 9228 Wardall Drive. I'm kind of surprised to hear about what happened with our treasurer, Patrick Howard. I just want to share something with y'all if y'all don't know. I am a licensed certified public accountant in the state of Missouri. Been so since 1997. So while we had the presentation with Robin Associates, he's a partner. He worked at Arthur Anderson. He's also a CPA. I feel I can speak on this as a CPA who's been in the business for a while. And I just want to say that we, given that Patrick has resigned, I think we're on the right track to try to get somebody like Robin Associates in. I don't want us to go out in the marketplace and try to find, a treasurer. I think at this point we need an outside accounting firm who will do our compilation work for us on the general ledger side. We don't have the time, and quite frankly, we don't have the liberty to go around and allow other people who are kind of interested. We've already done that. I just sat in the last meeting and asked the treasurer, why is our accounts receivable a negative $2 million? And he couldn't really answer the question. And I'm not blaming him, but we just don't need that. Right? We need somebody like that guy or somebody. And it could be KPMG, it could be Ruben Brown, it could be Robin and Associates, but we need somebody to close out the books formally each month, produce the deliverables for the board. Whether the board even reaches or not, that's not really for me to say, but those deliverables should come out every single month. The treasurer should be accessible. All those things are very real important because accounting is the backbone of any business, whether it's corporate, whether it's not-for-profit, whether it's municipal or governmental. You have to have meaningful, relevant data to make informed decisions about city business day in and day out. And when your accountant is not providing that, either because he's just trying to figure out the ropes or he doesn't have access to the tools in his toolkit or whatever that thing is stopping, then you're not able to make the decisions that need to be made. The other thing is, too, just keep in mind, there's a lot of management recommendations that were made, I believe, FY20. They have an audit report. There's a lot of internal control issues that were mentioned, and I don't think it's just the mayor's responsibility to address that. But I think you need to look at that. I think what Miranda just talked about, if that's true, we need to look at. You'll discuss with me, but it's an internal control issue now that the treasurer's gone. I want to be very clear on this to the public and everybody in front of me. I do not want to see this reliance on internal people to fill in for Patrick's position. I think that would be detriment to the city. I think it would not be a wise stewardship decision for us to rely on other people behind the board to fill in for a treasurer position that we're handling potentially millions of dollars in bank accounts. The other thing is, we have an audit. Remember at one point, Patrick was here, the audit is interim. Who is going to really now serve as the liaison for the city now that Patrick won't be able to answer the auditor's questions for all the things that need to be presented to the auditors for actual testing, audit testing that the auditors were to do. So that's really important because we need to have our financial audit. And my understanding of my last understanding with Patrick was that it's in process, but now he's resigned, so that's kind of in limbo. So I would like to kind of hear, I would like to hear what is our plan, given that we still need an audit for the June 30th, 2021 period, and he has now resigned. So that's my concern. I just think we really need to take this seriously because it is, finances is the backbone, and if we're not, and everybody on this board, including the mayor, has a fiduciary duty. So I just want to make sure that y'all really think about the game plan for that and address it so that we don't put the city in jeopardy of losing funding or losing any money or just even knowing what to do financially. So I hope that helps.
That helps.
It's Queen, 810 Neighbor Lane. Just wanted to say welcome to all of our new people. I am afraid that you will see a lot. I want to say that your job as aldermen, alderwomen, is the mayor can't do it by itself. This is an effort. There is no I and we. Okay? So, for me to see on the news James Carroll about some homes that were empty, about landlords. Let's talk about the homes where people are living in. They look a mess. I mess with this church. This church is helping people. Being a blessing. If you don't have, you can't even come here and be present in your seat. But you can go over here and be in bushes and harassing folks because you have a dislike for the man. There is no I and we, James Carroll. Secondly, we need some good police officers. It's been so much that comes to me. I'm not an alder person, but I am a community person. I hear a lot. A lot of stuff comes to me in my door, on my telephone. Because, as I said before, I'm an activist, and I'm going to be there. And I'm going to love my community and my people in my community, and it's going to be ran smooth, and as long as I got something to say, it's going to be ran smooth and good. But we need some black police officers because that situation that went on that I explained earlier, I don't want to say, I really don't kind of want to say racist, but it really was. It really was. And then, like I say, you come to rectify a situation that you blew up and made worse as a police officer. Then you get mad at me because I just came up and said, excuse me, you're supposed to be a part of the solution. I said, promise you, lower your voice. I live 3 houses down. He called, who was in your place when you were on vacation?
Major Wallace.
So he comes and he speaks to everyone. You were a camera. Camera should have been rolling while we were discussing the irate officer. The camera was not rolling to hear the conversation. But the camera rolled when the officer, he called another officer back when he said for us to all make a report. I'm not making a report on what happened at this home because that's not my business. I'm going to talk to the chief and the mayor, and I'm coming here so that the people can hear and understand what's going on. Again, I feel like I was harassed, cars been coming, you know, we don't have a Caucasian person on my block. So, they've been coming, you know, one stood in front of my house. I'm not going to be moved. I'm not, just because. Because I report an officer. I'm not going to be moved. I will be here every time there's a meeting.
Thank you.
Can I address something that's very important?
Oh, yes.
I want to address the diversity of the police department. I can't legally talk about the candidates in our hiring process. The mayor knows everything that I do. I tell him. But I can tell you that you will be pleased. That's as far as I can go with that. On the other hand, whenever you have a problem or perceive a problem with the police, please do call. And I think I named the wrong person. You probably got the watch commander of the ship. But yes, I am more than happy to sit down with you and the mayor and discuss what happened and investigate and resolve it. You know, we're not perfect, but I do hold my people accountable. And lastly, we're members of the community, no matter where you live at. We're members of the community. We are the same. We just do things for the community, but something's different. And the traditional thinking of hiring police officers has always been put on the police department. Actually, it's the entire community's responsibility to bring people forward who are interested in policing and people that you want to police in your own community. I mean, what's a better choice than that? You can choose people that are eligible to police your own community.
So that's what I did once that's in other communities and been slapped on the hand for all kind of stuff. Now we're getting a bad one. Still bad.
What do you mean?
You know, like some officers be like Berkeley or Ferguson or Florissant, and they leave in there because they done got slapped on the hand for misconduct. We don't want them.
Oh, our standards are still high. I have made some modifications to make it a little bit easier on applicants concerning the application itself and a few other tweaks. I can't drop standards beyond what they are because now we're required by the state to do certain things for our hiring process that we've been doing for 25 years plus. But what you get in an employee that we hire, they're fully vetted. And they have to be eligible and meet the criteria of basically our values and our system here in our community. Because we want the officers' belief system and what they do to mirror what we enjoy here in our community. That's important because they have to understand that. And that's how we vet our police officers. But, again, police is not a popular industry right now. And I am willing to speak with anybody you want to bring forward that's interested in policing.
I wish I could do it.
Lastly, I know we're down to 8 police officers. I know everybody's got my mobile number. I do enjoy the text.
Either be the city clerk or go back there and put the inspector, drive in the truck and get these tickets out.
I'm showing it to you right now.
One last comment. I've been getting more and more phone calls for work. You know, people have problems on the streets and stuff like that. Please call dispatch. I can't do. I'm not 24/7. I just can't do it all. And I'm not pointing you at that. I'm just saying that just general. Use the resources the way
what you're supposed to. But if you have a complaint, yeah, get a hold of me. That's my job.
You know, I do understand.
I know.
Rich Scottish, 10636 Bell Fountain Road. I just want to say thank you guys. I know you guys are ready to go, so I apologize for coming up here again and holding you up. But I just want to say thank you for your commitment to working with us. We really appreciate that. And I just want you to know, too, that we're not just committed to feeding kids. We're committed to making a difference in Bell Fountain. And so, Chief, one of the things that you said was that your officers are cutting grass for 152. I want some of those lists because we're going to do a survey to help some of those, help you guys cut some grass. Make sure that we make a difference. So,
You don't realize how much that means, what you just said. It's a lot of work, a lot of time, and
so we'll talk about how we can accomplish that, and that's what we're here to do as Influence Church is to make a difference in the communities around us, every community that we're in. So I just want to say thank you for commitment, for working together to keep feeding kids on site, but also beyond that to make a difference in the community.
Thank you so much. We do have seniors in our city, and some of them are handicapped, and they cannot cut their grass. One of them, as mayor, I just get out there and help myself, help them myself. And they be telling me, no, man, it's not you. But I grew up on a farm, so I'm used to working. And so, finally, the other thing that I want to say is that addressing the police problem that we have, police in the African American community is not held in high esteem because they have not held us in high esteem. So it's difficult to get young black men to want to be a police officer. And so I spoke to the chief about it. We need to start recruiting them from the high school, from Liberty Garden High School, because, there are some programs that we can offer them, and then they can police their own neighborhood. But, COVID hit and school was shut down and just messed up the whole thing. So next school year, hopefully we can get that initiated now that we have board member Wanda Lane on there, who will help us to move things forward in this city and in the school district. So I appreciate her and the work that she does in our community. Now, I hate to do this, but I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Means adjourned.